Hey everyone, welcome back to Ethan's Guitar Room. My name is Ethan, and today we have some breaking news, so let's get into it. If you've been in the electric guitar world for very long, I'm sure you are familiar with the term chibson. And that's what we call the fake Gibson guitars that sometimes pop up on the market for seemingly reasonable prices, but it's actually a knockoff that's made in China or somewhere else overseas for very cheap. It doesn't have the premium qualities to match the price tag that it's being sold for, but it looks at least most of the way like a real Gibson. So, getting into the news, this is what the headline from NBC News says. Authorities seize 3,000 fake Gibson guitars in Southern California worth $18 million. Customs agents found over 3,000 fake guitars. And it also says that Gibson wasn't the only brand. There were also some Fenders, Gretsch, PRS, but most of the fakes were Gibsons. Now, part of the reason that Gibson is targeted is because of their price point. If you're going to build a $300 guitar overseas, send it to the United States and try to sell it as a real Gibson or Fender, it makes more sense to go with the one that would sell for the most. And in most cases, that's going to be your Gibsons. And here are a few pictures of all of the guitars that they found. I looked through a few pictures and looked up some numbers to see what some of these guitars, if they were real, would be selling for. There's a Zakk Wylde Les Paul. Found one on Reverb for $13,000. There's a Pelham Blue ES335 with like a Firebird headstock, so like a Dave Grohl signature. One of those on Chicago Music Exchange for $14,000. There's a Black Widow style Les Paul, $6,000. There's a Custom Shop aged Silver Burst, so it would be sort of like the Custom Shop version of the Adam Jones guitars that they're no longer making, but one of those would go for about $10,000. Some Les Paul Supremes, $4,000, and 1275 double neck, and that would go for around $8,000. As you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot before that price tag is huge. And the customs agents that recovered the guitars had some Gibson people value them, and they estimated it to be about $18.7 million worth of fake guitars if they sold at Gibson values. If nothing else, maybe let this be a warning to you if you're buying stuff online. Make sure you know what you're buying, especially if you're buying used somewhere like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Nobody's vetting that before that listing is being sold to you. Reverb tries to keep up with removing fraudulent listings, so there's at least the illusion of security there. Make sure you verify that what you are going to buy is actually a real Gibson or Fender guitar. And a few ways you can do that. The first thing, message the person who has the guitar listed. Ask them for more details, maybe ask for different pictures, and get an idea of whether they are a guitar person or not. If you're asking real, legitimate guitar questions and they give you all kinds of crazy answers, probably don't buy it. But if they're a good old hobby guitarist, they're probably going to be able to answer all the questions you have and provide you with any pictures or anything like that that you want. I've heard of people asking for, like, send me a picture of the guitar with today's newspaper, with your watch showing the time and the date. Something like that. Sounds a little extreme to me, but if you're that skeptical, go ahead and do that. The second thing I would recommend, don't just blindly buy something. If you see a Les Paul in some crazy color that you like, but you've never seen it before, maybe look into it. There are some one-offs out there with the made-to-measure program, but when you see something that's completely different, you should at least investigate. And you can do that by going on Gibson's website, look at the guitars that are currently listed, all the color variations. They even have a lot of things that are discontinued or out of stock that are still listed on their website. And if you dig a little further, you can even find some old listings from Gibson, and that can give you a picture or description to directly compare to the listing that you're looking at. And last but certainly not least, there's a guy on YouTube who has an extremely in-depth knowledge of all things Gibson, and that is Trogley. If you go look him up, Trogley's Guitar Show. If you're going to buy something used, you could search like 78 Les Paul Trogley. He probably has a video about one, and he breaks down everything. He pulls the pickups out to show you the wiring. He compares how the different generations of Les Pauls differ. So some have like a little bit bigger headstock or sharper corners on the Gibson logo, and he breaks all of that down. Watch his videos. He knows what he's talking about. And one other piece of news before I go. Gibson issued a cease and desist to Trump guitars because they were making patriotic-looking guitars in the shape of a Les Paul. From what I read, they also received a cease and desist from Fender for copying their body shapes. Yeah, Donald Trump has guitars. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor and subscribe if you liked the video. Leave me a comment. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by joining my YouTube community. As always, keep it fun. See you in the next one.